I've got my .h file done. Now I'm going to go into our CPP file and we're going to code all of the functions that go along with the tic-tac-toe. Okay, some people were having issues with their compiler about not having, if they didn't have this include statement, it wouldn't compile. So I put it here to remind you to put it in there. It will work if you're using like any other compiler and that doesn't have this, but it might be nice to have that there so it will work on every compiler. Okay, our tic-tac-toe grid. I want to initialize all of my grid to have the following values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9. That's what I want to initialize my grid to be. Okay. I can't do an initializer list because I guess I could do an initializer list in my main. That might be easier. Let's go back and do an initializer list there. So here, grid equals open squiggly. This is main. Dang it! Why does it put that in? So these have to, since they're characters, they have to be in single quotes. I don't want the value to, I want the character to, and so on. So, comma, let's copy and paste a little bit and change up. Last one doesn't have a comma, and the very last item does have a semicolon after it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right, that'll save us some time. Now we don't have to do a for loop inside of a for loop to initialize those values. Just make sure that works. And what am I missing? Oh yeah, here we go. So now I don't have to do much in the constructor other than I do need to set the current player equal to whoever you want to start out. Do you want X's to begin or do you want O's to begin? I'm going to choose X's. Now notice I don't have that in single quotes. That's because of the enum on the other page. Otherwise I would have to have this in single quotes. Okay, constructor is now done. Let's do let's see what's next. Switch player, that's going to be an easy one. Let's do that one next. So I'm going to say void, got my scope resolution operator, and I'm going to call the switch player function. This one's going to be super easy, just an if statement. All I have to do is see whose turn it is, because if the player's turn is an X, then I just got to switch it to an O. There we go. Anything else, that means the player's an O, so I'll switch my player to be an X. All right, that one's done. We're moving along. So far, so good. Okay, the next one is a little bit more difficult. We need to be able to move. And so we're going to send it what the user chose, and that's just the number as a character. And we got to find that number and replace it with whatever their player is. So I'm going to do void tic-tac-toe grid. There's my scope resolution operator. Select move is what we called it, and it has a character called choice. All right, here's where we're using our loop inside of a loop. I need to iterate through my 2D array. So for int, and I like to use R and C. If I'm doing an array, like a single dimension array, I usually use for int I equals the letter I to represent the iteration. Whenever I'm doing 2D arrays, I use R for rows and C for columns. So I'm going to start off so this will iterate through all of the rows. For R equals 0, R is less than size is our 3, and R++. Now I need to iterate through the columns. There we go. So within that, all I have to do is search for their choice, And if I find it, I could put my X or O there. So I'm going to do an if statement that says if grid, and I would need to access based upon row and column. So this is going to check every single position. Now, if that is equal to whatever they chose, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then I got to put in my X or my O. Well, I already have a variable to represent whose turn it is, and it changes based upon whose turn it is. So I'm just going to set my grid of that row and of that column equal to the player. Then I can break out of the loop, because once I've moved, I'm not going to find another like 7 anymore. So I'll hit break, and that will be done. All right, next, let's test out, let's see, what should we do next? Oh, let's do a getter for our current player. So I'm going to save these two for the next video, and I'm going to do this one next. Excuse me, select move. We've done select, yeah, get current player. That's a good one, and then we'll stop after that, and I'll do another video that way. I don't know. I do lots of videos, don't I? That way, if I keep the videos short, then you can like have a pause in between and stop and get a drink or something. Plus, then if I mess up incredibly, I don't have to do the whole video again. Okay, this is an easy one. Return player. Just a getter for the player, right? All right. Catch us in the next video, and we will do our display overloaded operator and check to show you how to check to see if they've won.